All right, let me test the audio first. All right, might as well just stop for a while because they're performing the azan, so let's just wait for the azan to end first, okay? All right, thank you. Let me just start sharing my tab. I think it's this one. Is it this one? I think it's this one. Okay. All right, first round of sound checking.
Assalamualaikum and good day. I bid.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. All right, so please welcome Wana Afrisha Aryani and also Fatin Alish. Please.
Assalamualaikum and good day. I bid to Sarwan Yusuf and my fellow classmate. I am Wana Afrisha Aryani binti Wan Razali. Today I am going to explain about the listening process involved in mindful listening. The first process is mindfulness, which is paying complete attention and concentrating to the conversation so that you will be able to understand it fully. The next one is physically receiving messages where you can hear the words communicated words by words clearly. Process can be disturbed if you cannot hear the words clearly, such as when the other person is talking too slow or too fast, which making you unable to understand the words. The next process is selecting and organizing material, because we as a human only attends to some message and elements in our environment depending on our interest or expectation. The next process in listening is interpreting communication, which you need to be person centered to be able to understand the conversation from their perspective. You have to put yourself in the other person's shoes in order for you to understand why they are talking about this matter like this, or why are they behaving like this while talking. The next process is responding to the other person during the conversation. The response can be verbal or non-verbal, such as nodding your head to show that you are still interested in the conversation. The last process in listening is remembering. After the conversation, you will need to remember what the conversation is all about. You might not remember the whole detail of the conversation, but you have to at least have a picture about what the conversation is all about. I think that is all from me. I will pass to my group members, Fatin Alish. Thank you.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Fatin Elish. So I will talk about forms of non-listening behaviors. The 6 forms of non-listening include pseudo-listening, monopolizing, selective listening, defensive listening, ambushing, and literal listening. Pseudo-listening is when someone seems to listen and appears attentive but isn't really listening to understand or interpret what they are hearing. For example, listeners may respond with a smile, head nod, or even a minimal verbal acknowledgement, but are ignoring or not attending.
God, so nice to have everyone over.
Hi.
I just laid an egg. Does anybody want it? Joey, you want some gasoline?
Yes, please.
Mom, guess what? I married a clown and we're having tiny little clown babies.
Monopolizing refers to when one person dominates a conversation and refuses to let anyone else speak. It occurs when a person continues to focus the conversation on themselves rather than listening to what someone else has to say.
I'm so frustrated because I had a fight with Jose yesterday. We were talking about how to fix one issue, when suddenly he exploded. I didn't know
Hi,
what to.
Pierre. Oh, I can imagine how it was. I had many similar experiences in the past. I remember that one time in Grenoble. Very similar. I was talking, and out of the blue the guy started shouting to me. Oh, and there was that time when the complete team got into a fight during a town meeting. We had to call HR to calm down the people. And then I remember. So I really thought it was me being wrong, but no. It was the other guy. Well, it's life. By the way, Pierre, did you need something from me?
Nobody is listening to me.
Selective listening is selecting only the information that the listeners identify as relevant to their own needs or interests. For example, listeners may have their own agenda and ignore topics that contradict their own attitudes or ideas. Defensive listening refers to taking innocent comments as personal attacks. As for the example, listeners misinterpret or project feelings of insecurity, jealousy, and guilt, or lack of confidence in the other person. Ambushing is the practice or listening carefully and intently in order to gather knowledge that can be used against the other person in an attack. Listeners will question, contradict, or oppose the other person to trap them or use their own words against them. A good example for ambushing can be seen in the court through a conversation between a lawyer and a cross-examination. Literal listening is known as listening simply for content and neglecting the relational level of meaning. All communication, as we have seen, involve both content and relationship meaning. When we listen literally, we are simply concerned with the material and are unconcerned about others' feelings and our relationships with them. For example, when we talk to the people saying that we are unable to do them favor because we are having such terrible pain, and they are just listening to us without trying to understand how we feel about what we are saying. That's all from me. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Fatin, Elish, and one. Oh, all right, sorry. All right, question for Fatin, Elish's group.
Hello, sir.
Hi, hi, Izati. Oh, okay.
I have a question for Fatin Elish.
Yes, please.
Fatin Elish, are you ever tempted to use pseudo listening in everyday convocation? Thank you.
Conversation.
Thanks for the question. As for me, it depends on the situation. Sometimes there are times when I will behave this way. For example, if someone keeps talking to me about something or a story that they have already told me many times in the past and I have listened to it too often, I will get stressed by hearing the same things over and over. So, if I cannot stop them, I will pretend to listen to what they are saying, even though my mind is elsewhere, because I just don't want to hurt their feelings by stopping them from telling me the story. That's all from me.
All right, another question for one.
I have a question for one Afrisha Aryani. My
All right,
question
Fatin.
is, what will happen if we cannot hear the word that being communicated during the conversation? Thank you.
Thank you, Fika, for the question. In my opinion, if you cannot hear the word being communicated, you will most likely not receive the information from the conversation. In my opinion, in this situation, it is best for you to disturb or respond during the other person is talking. For example, when they are talking too slow and you cannot hear them clearly, you can say, I am sorry, but I cannot hear you clearly. Can you speak louder so that they are aware and speak louder? I think that's all from me. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Fatih and Lichwan Afrisha. All right, let's move on to the next group from OU Strengths group. So I'm going to play you the video from OU Strengths group. All right, OU Strengths and Ifa Hayani. Coming in 3, 2, 1, go.
Hi, Solan, my fellow friends. I'm Oishan, metric number L20B0037, and today I'm going to talk about the forms of non-listening. First is pseudo listening, when we pretend to listen but we are actually not listening. This happened when I was in primary school when my mama told me to do housework. I was watching YouTube video at that time. I nodded my head, but I did not hear what she said. Obviously, she got angry and scolded me, and ever since then I don't do this anymore because it is rude and impolite. Second is monopolizing. Sometimes I see this happening in interviews, especially when YouTubers or celebrities they invited other YouTubers or celebrities to come join them on their video and they were having an interview. They keep trying to redirect the communication or conversation back to themselves or keep cutting off the other person when the other person wants to talk. They keep interrupting and the other person did not get to finish what he or she wants to say. The third is selective listening, and this happened when I was trying to learn a new foreign language. Like when I was trying to learn Japanese, I don't understand any Japanese at first. Eventually, I practice and also learn more so I can understand the meaning of a few words and I try to listen to those few words that I understand to guess the whole meaning of a sentence. And another type of selective listening I've seen is my neighbor who just gave birth to her baby. So there was another neighbor who was having construction work at his house, so there was a lot of drilling and noises that are really loud and disturbing. My neighbor can still sleep over and just sleep very deep with those noises and those disturbing noises. She still can sleep really good. But once she hear her baby cry, she will immediately jump up and rush to her baby, even her baby is in another room and is quite far away. So this is the selective listening of a mother towards the cry of her baby, and we can see that she really loves her child and she cares for her baby. Another selective listening that we can all relate to strongly as a student is when in classes we are probably feeling very sleepy, or we are playing on our phones, and suddenly our professor said, "Oh, this is going to be on the exam," or "This is going to be important for our assignment." And immediately we will just jump up and pay attention to class. The next form of listening is defensive listening, when the older sibling tells the younger sibling to go do the dishes, and the younger sibling immediately responded by, "You are not my mama or daddy. You can't tell me what to do. Don't order me around." So, in this case, the younger sibling thought that the older sibling is trying to order him or her around, when the older sibling is actually just trying to say something. The next form of non-listening is ambushing, and this happens in court when married couple are trying to go through a divorce and they want to attack the other person to show who is cheating on who, when actually in real fact both the husband and wife, they probably did not cheat at all. The husband did not cheat the wife did not cheat the husband, but they just probably have a miscommunication, but they keep trying to attack the other person. The last non-listening behavior is actually literal listening, and this happens when sometimes a worker tells the boss, "I just had an operation and I need time to off to heal," and the boss will just say, "Okay, I will delegate your work to another worker and your pay will be deducted." The boss did not ask about the well-being of the worker and did not ask any questions like, "Are you okay? Do you tell me if you need anything?" or did not show any type of care or any concern for the worker's well-being. That's all I have to share about this topic. Thank you for listening to my non-listening presentation. Have a good day.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good morning everyone. My name is Ifa Hayani binti Habib. So today I want to share with you guys the reflection of chapter 6. The part from chapter 6 that can relate to me is adapting listening to communication goals. It has 3 parts, which are listening for pleasure, listening for information, and listening to support others. Okay, first is listening for pleasure. Listening for pleasure is when you listen to appreciation, you are listening for enjoyment, like the music you listen to. You usually listen to music because you enjoyed it. For example, I will listen to music when I am completing my assignment. This is because it can relieve my stress. Okay, next is listening for information. The purpose of hearing it is to get important information and need to hear it carefully so that we will not miss any information. For example, in my experience, I was adapting this listening for information when I was listening to a lecture delivered by my lecturer in class. They will give a lot of important information, and therefore I need to focus on listening to the information given by writing some notes in my book. Okay, the last part is to support others. The meaning of this part is a powerful technique that enables anyone to show real support through conversation without becoming exhausted or frustrated in the process. Always be mindful when someone is talking to you. Listen intently and do not let your mind wander around. For example, in my own experience, I am pretty good listener, but usually sometimes when my friends or my sister want to share their story with me, my mind sometimes wander around and will think of other things. So do not be like that. We need to listen intently to show that we are right to show support to him or her, and we also need to always be careful to give words that can scratch someone's heart when we finish hearing of any their stories or expression. For examples like, why did you do that? Are you blind or what? Only this kind of words can make someone feel sad. They need support, not condemn with what they say. So, this kind of expression is not good and does not show that you are listening to support. That's why you must be careful. To show your support, you also can use a minimal encourage like, really? I am with you, babe. Don't be stressed and worried too much. And as for non-verbal minimum encourage, you can raise your eyebrow to look like you are shocked or what in the story, a head nod and widen eyes. Asking a question also can be one of the way to show your support when you are listening. Like when my friends share her story about her problem, I will ask, are you okay? Or, I am always with you, right? This type of question also can make someone feel more comfort and feel like they still have a friend who care about them. Okay, last but not least is express your support even if you do not support the content or idea expressed. For example, when I have a discussion for an assignment with my group, one of my friends will give her an idea and we all will listen very intently. But sometimes her idea is good, but I cannot fully support her. But I will not say like, your idea is so bad. No. I will say something like, your idea is good and we can use it on our assignment. But to make it this part more perfect, we can add some ideas like that in here or there. So when we use this kind of words, we will show support even if we do not fully support. But we must cover it with a beautiful word so that people will not feel discouraged. Okay, I think that's all from me and my friend Yishuan. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you, Ifa Hayani and also Yishuan. All right, a question for Ifa and also Yishuan.
Hello. I want to ask Oi Yushin. Okay, the questions from me are, why do you think people would not listen like what you said in your non-listening presentation? Then how can we be a good listener actually? Okay, that's all my questions for Oi. Thank you.
Thank you, Fatima, for asking the question, and good afternoon to Sir and everyone. I think that the first question, why would people want not to listen, is because sometimes we are all human beings and we feel bored or we feel tired or we are stressed. Or maybe we are just distracted with some other things, like sometimes we were driving and then our mom or somebody, girlfriend, boyfriend, talking next to us, and then we just get really distracted because we need to drive and also listen to them at the same time. And sometimes it's just because we are not in the mood. So we are all human beings, we feel that, and probably that's why we wouldn't want to listen to other people. And because of this, it's important for us to be a good listener, because I believe that whenever every one of us we speak, we hope that the other person would listen to what we are saying. And it's just a normal form of showing respect to each other. We speak, we talk, we communicate because we want to get to know each other better. And we just want to understand each other. We probably just want to share our voice and just maybe like express ourselves. It's just a normal thing for us as humans. So it's really important for us that we listen. And we can be a better listener by trying to maybe like try to focus, calm ourselves down and listen to what other people has to say, because sometimes I think that when we listen to others, we learn more from them. And it's unexpected, but it's a very beautiful thing to be able to learn from other people. Thank you for your question.
All right, thank you, Yichuan. All right, next question for Ifa Hayani.
Okay, I have a question for Ifa.
All right, Atira, please.
So in your opinion, why listening is very important? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question, Atira. In my opinion, listening is very important because as listener, we can help someone to calm themselves from going down when they share with us about their problem that make them feel sad or depressed. Sometimes people want to share their problem with us because they are very stressed and want to clear their minds from thinking about the problem that can affect their daily life. So we as a listener have the responsibility to comfort them, give some word of encouragement and show support so that their feeling becomes better. As a listener, we also get a lot of important information that we can use for the future. For example, when we are in the class, we will get a lot of important information that we can adapt in our daily life or can be used in the realm of career for the future. Okay, I think that's all from me. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ifa Hayani. All right, thank you for all the presenters. All right, so don't forget to submit your YouTube link of presentation today onto your respective T1 and T2 eCampus group. Okay. All right. So before we move on, I would like to show you the QR code for your attendance. So get your devices ready and don't forget to scan the QR code for L1. Oh, yes, L1. T1 and T2 was already given in our WhatsApp group. This is for L1, both of you, okay? All right, I'm going to share my screen. Where is it? All right, so this is the QR code for L1.
Sir, I cannot
Yes?
scan the QR code.
Is it? Why?
Oh no, I'm using mobile.
Oh, okay. All right. Don't worry, for those who are using mobile, just stay logged in onto your eCampus and your attendance will be automatically recorded. Okay? At least
Okay,
an
sir.
hour. All right, okay. All right, while you are scanning your QR code, all right, some of your friends have raised the concern of you having too many assignments to be submitted next week, which is on the week 9. All right, so a lot of assignments will be due on that week as well. So some are raising concern and ask me whether we can extend the submission of your individual pre-recorded assignment, presentation assignment, all right? The one where you will be analyzing your artifacts and also your experience on listening. All right, so it'll be like this. Initially, we promised that the assignment will be submitted on the 13th. All right, so they have asked for extension until 16 or 17, I think until the end of the week. All right, so what I would like you to do is you will have to submit them, all of your pre-recorded assignment, which is in form of YouTube link. All right. At least, okay, by 18. All right, let's just make it 18, which is Saturday. All right, Saturday midnight. All right, so inshallah by Sunday when I've opened my eCampus, all of your assignment will be there. All right, so the new due date for your individual assignment will not be on the 13th, but it will be extended until the 18th. All right, 18th of December, which is on Saturday at midnight. All right, okay. Make sure you submitted everything before 11:59. Just to be safe, before 11:45 lah. Just to be safe, okay? All right.
Thank you so much, sir.
All right, most welcome. Thank you, Beda. All right, done with scanning? I think done. All right, so let's just go back to the lecture. So today we'll be doing on chapter 7, okay, which is emotion and communication. All right, so we do know that before this, we have already covered a few components of interpersonal communication. All right, how you identify communication, developing from I to I down communication, and then verbal and non-verbal, the usage of words, the usage of non-verbal cues. All right, and then listening is also important. All right, one of the parts that also play an important role in the process of interpersonal, not just interpersonal communication, but communication as a whole as well, is emotion. Okay, all right. Usually emotion is related to our own emotional intelligence. All right, so emotion and also feelings can be described as having feelings such as happiness, sadness, shame, pride, embarrassment, envy, jealousy, all of those kind of feelings that you had throughout your, let's say, 25, 23, 22 years of life. For me, it's 32 years of life, for example. All right, okay. And then emotional intelligence, this can be described by the ability for you to recognize feelings, all right, to judge which feelings are appropriate in which situation, and to communicate those feelings effectively. Usually, when you have reached a certain age of maturity, okay, your emotional intelligence will also develop. Okay, maybe before this, for example, let's say, for example, if you get what you call that, I mean, if you were a kid, previously you were kids, and when something which is beyond your thoughts or beyond your emotion happen, you have no feelings about it. All right. For example, let's say maybe you lost your brother, for example, when you were like 2 to 3 years old or 5 years old. Maybe you will feel sad at the moment, and as the time goes on, all right, you will eventually you will overcome that kind of emotion because you are growing, right? And then when you have reached a certain point of maturity, all right, the sadness, the memory, all the good memories with you and your brother will certainly come back, and it will it will not disturb your emotion, but it will lingers around your emotion. So reaching maturity in certain ages is also important in order for you to identify whether you have emotionally developed or not. Okay, and it is also crucial in career advancement. So some companies, for example, they're gonna have emotional intelligence kind of test, for example, personality test, all those questions that they were gonna give you a situation. If you saw a cat crossing the road, what will you do? If you saw an old man crossing the road, what will you do? If you lost someone, how will you feel? All of those kind of tests will be testing on your emotional intelligence. All right. So based on your own experience and interpretation of internal sensation, all right, you will develop an understanding of emotion. Okay, so these sensations, they are shaped by physiology, your perceptions, the language, and also your social experiences. So throughout the process of you growing up, all right, you will have a lot of experience. You will be doing a lot of things. You will be told a lot of things. Information will come in and out of your mind and things like that. So this kind of experience and interpretation will help you, right, to develop your understanding towards your own emotion. Are you a very cool person? Are you a very a grumpy person, or you always you feel sad all the time, for example, or people cannot make jokes of you because you will tend to be irritated easily, for example. So throughout time, throughout experience, you will have the understanding of your own emotion. All right, the physiological influence of emotion. So from the organismic view of emotion, okay, by James Lange, all right, 1922, all right, James Lange mentioned that we experience emotion when external stimuli cause physiological changes in us, all right. For example, we have a stimulus of receiving a gift, all right. We're gonna experience physiological responses by showing our big smile, all right? Because logically, when you receive a gift, of course, you will feel happy, and physiologically, all right, the features of your body, it will be showing a big smile, and your emotion at that time will indicate happiness and also joy. If let's say your mom whip you because of your wrongdoings, all right, You will not have a big smile, of course. All right, tears will come out of your eyes. All right, and the emotion at that time will be sad or frustrated. All right, and the perceptual influence on emotion. So, perceptual view of emotion can be described by appraisal theory, whereby subjective perception, all right, shape what external phenomena means to you. All right, so how things happen, all right, around you, all right, will be very subjective, and it will depends on how you perceive the situation, all right, and how meaningful it will be, and it will also affect your emotion. So our response and emotion is interpreted by the perception that we have of certain events in our life. All right. So for example, there's an arrow of emotion over here, external event, the perception of the event, the interpreted emotion, and the response. All right. Take one example for, let's say, when you were a child. Okay, let's say when I don't know if any, maybe none of you have kids, but if you watch your brothers, or if you watch your mom and dad, if you watch other parents, all right, when they have a small baby, not a baby, which is a quite plump baby, let's say, all right, very healthy kind of baby, all right, very healthy kind of baby, not fat, but a bit plump, okay, for example, for that particular event, all right, it will be a very joyful event, because the people always interpret a plump baby as being very cute, oh, comelnya, gebunya, gemuknya, comelnya, and everything, all right. So the perception of that event will be joy, all right, happiness, all right. You fond the baby very much because at that time he or she is very cute, all right. And the interpreted emotion, all right, and the interpreted emotion will always be joy and happiness, and also the response will vary. Some will like it, some will not like it. But in this particular case, all right, normal parents or normal people like us will always like a plump baby because comelnya, gemuknya, cute-nya, chubby-nya, something like that. But throughout time, all right, when the baby grow up, becomes a child, becomes what you call that, becomes a teenager, all right, become an adult, all right. Being plump during that particular time of adulthood is not gonna be something perceived as cuteness, for example, all right. Not every people can accept being plump or something like that. So at that particular moment, all right, the external event over there is you yourself being perceived by the environment as not beautiful enough, for example, not thin enough, not in shape enough, for example, all right. And the perception at that time is you are overweight, you are fat, you are eating unhealthy, and the interpreted emotion will be sadness and frustration towards yourself. And the way you deal and the way you respond will vary. Sometimes you will just ignore, sometimes you will be irritated and maybe express your anger towards these kind of people. So this is how emotion are being shaped based on your perception. Okay. All right. Where will be? All right. And then perception also influences on emotion. All right. Continue. Sorry. Cognitive leveling view of emotion indicates that our labels, all right, for our physiological responses influence how we interpret those responses, right? So the event occurred has caused a response, thus we assign label for the response, and it also shared our emotion, all right? So we got this external event, the physiological response, the label for response, and also the emotion. Almost the same as the example of getting fat or being plump. All right, when you have reached adulthood, for example, all right. So the external event, all right, caused by physiological responses when people keep on, let's say, teasing you, saying bad things to you, you will label the response. Sometimes, all right, it might not happen to all of us, but sometimes people like being teased, for example, or people like other people making fun of them because they think that it shows how close they are. All right, like for example, with you and your sister or your brother, they're gonna call you stupid lah. They're gonna go, hey, gemuk, something like that. But then you like it very much because it indicates how close you are with your siblings, right? But you interpret it as something to show closeness, all right? And your emotion will be of maybe more of joy and also happiness. But if this particular person has nothing to do with you, and whatever he is saying irritates you, labeling you as fat or things like that, right? The label that you will assign for that particular event and also emotion will be of negative labels. For example, sadness, irritation, anger. All right, and you will express this kind of emotion. Okay. All right, and also social influences on emotion. All right, we're going to have the interactive view of emotion, whereby the social rules and understandings will shape what people feel and how they do or don't express their feelings. All right, whereby in this particular interactive view of emotion, we're going to have two particular rules. All right, the framing rules. All right, the emotional meaning of situation. So if you look at the role of the ruler or the arrow of emotion over here, we're going to have the framing rules, all right? The feeling rules, the felt emotion, how your emotion work, all right? And then how do you feel at that time, your emotion, and how do you express your emotion, all right? So the framing rules can be indicated by the emotional meaning of situation. So you prescribe emotion, all right, according to the situation that you have experienced. For example, okay, Western culture define funeral as sad and respectful occasion. All right, we can see, all right, for this particular event, for this particular situation, all right, we have already framed ourselves to having emotions related to sadness, for example, because we are currently mourning the death of someone. But then Irish Americans, they hold wakes when a person dies. So a wake is actually a festive occasion in which people tell stories about the departed person and celebrate his or her life. All right. So when Irish American they organize a wake, usually they will cherish all the good memories with the one who has already passed. All right, and tell good stories about him, drinks. Not gonna say party, but more of having good times with family members in to remember in remembrance, right? To the one that have already passed. Okay, so sometimes framing rules, it happens because of our culture, right? And then we also have feeling rules, all right? Feeling rules, well, all right, sorry, where are we? Okay. We also have feeling rules whereby it tells us what we should feel, all right, or expect to feel in particular situation based upon the value of culture and social groups, right? So this one will be deeply based on the value that we are born with and also the culture that we are living in. All right, so in feeling rules, we have two particular diversion, which is deep acting and also surface acting. All right. One example of feeling rules is we can see in terms of being expressive. For example, we can see that the Western culture or some culture, they view showing anger and also being expressive, showing that you are, you know how to say this. You want to stand for your right. For example, you think this is very right. You are showing your anger because you think you deserve to have something. It's very healthy in certain culture, all right? But surprisingly, in the Semai Orang Asli tribe, all right, Semai Orang Asli tribe, which can be found in Malaysia, they view anger as bringing bad luck. All right, that's why based on the record, all right, I'm not sure about the latest record, there are no such things as murder ever happen. All right, and also crimes are also, of course, because living in a very harmonious culture, all right, they believe that anger will only bring nothing but just bad luck. So there's no number of murders, no number of crime happening in this particular tribe, all right? So in feeling rules, we have two acting division, which is deep acting, whereby it involves learning what they should and should not feel. For example, okay, in deep acting, children are taught to feel thankful when given a gift, even if they don't like it. All right. So as if you are acting your emotion. All right. In surface acting, it involves controlling the outward expression of emotion rather than controlling your feeling. Sorry. So in surface acting, okay, you will try to involve your expression, what can be seen by the others, rather than controlling actually your feelings and also emotion. Whatever it is external is much more important to be controlled rather than whatever it is internal. That is surface acting. For example, okay, children are taught to say thank you. All right, expressing gratitude is emphasized more than feeling grateful. All right. So although children, they don't have the feeling of grateful. For example, they like the price, but in certain particular level, right? Some of them might just ignore the price or just put it elsewhere, not going to display on the shelf or something like that. Because wherever it is important is for you just to say thank you when you receive the prize, all right? Rather than you emphasizing on your feelings, all right? And sometimes you also involve in emotion work, all right? Emotion work indicates the effort to generate what we think are appropriate feelings in particular situation, all right? So in this particular situation, we call it as a pinch, right? What we feel and what we think we should feel. So when you experience the pinch, actually your feeling and also what you think you should feel doesn't align. Okay, for example, when you feel happy over a person that have miserable life because you hate the person, right? For example, somebody that you hated so much, all right, got involved into accidents, all right, has to be amputated, for example, all right. Deep down, yes, this is very bad. Deep down, you feel happy because you know that pada muka serve you right, something like that. But actually, all right, your mind is telling you that you should feel sad or you should feel sorry for that particular person. So there's a conflict between how you feel and how your mind want to set the way you think or how you should actually feel. So this is called the pinch. Okay. All right. There are a few reasons why we may not express emotion. So number one, cultural and social expectation. For example, we have Westerners, they always indicate that it is more acceptable for women to express emotion and for men to refrain from expressing most emotion. So in Western culture, women will be the most outstanding one or very expressive in terms of emotion, and men need to reserve themselves a bit. All right, and then because of self-protection, whereby you are being afraid or fearful of what you express could affect others who perceive you. All right, so in this particular case, we have the chilling effect. All right, fear of someone who has more power, rank, authority than you do, so you suppress your feeling. All right, so for the sake of self-protection, you do not express your discomfortness or you do not express your your irritation or things. For example, you got sexually harassed at your workplace, all right, and then because the one doing it is actually your manager or your boss or something, all right, you are practicing self-protection because you don't want your job to be jeopardized. Okay, and then protecting others, fear we could hurt or upset others or cause them to lose face. All right, some things whereby you cannot just burst your emotion. For example, when your auntie asks you, bila nak kahwin, umur dah 23, 24, something like that. And then because it is actually the sister of your mom, all right, you want to protect the face of your mom as well. You don't want your mom to feel sad because of how bad you are in front of her siblings or something like that. So you will just neglect that particular emotion of anger and just answer them politely. Okay. And then social and professional roles. All right. So your role make it inappropriate for you to be expressive in terms of your emotion. All right. For example, nurse who expresses anger towards a patient might be regarded as unprofessional. All right. Same thing as when you see, for example, content creators or YouTubers or something like that. All right. Some of them, all right, I'm not going to say everyone, but but most of them doesn't have, maybe are not currently having a professional job, for example. So this is their main job. All right. So let's just imagine you seeing me, all right, TikToking or dancing or gelek and everything in front of you in the YouTube. Will that be appropriate for me to express my happiness like that? Of course, it will not be appropriate because of how professional you are and how professional someone that you perceive have to be. Okay? All right, and then speaking in generalities, we do not effectively express our true emotional states. All right? For example, you just say, I feel bad, I'm happy. So does I feel bad over here mean that you feel depressed, angry, guilty, ashamed, anxious? Or does when you say I'm happy, meaning that you are in love, you are very pleased with your grade, you got good pay, you got promoted to a very good job, for example, So it is very vague and very general. All right. Not owning your feelings, you state feelings in a way that disowns personal responsibility. All right. This one we have done it in the previous chapter. All right. So use I language to revise your statement. For example, you make me angry. All right. So when you want to take responsibility of this statement, you could change it into I feel angry when you don't call me when you say you will. Rather than putting all the blame to him, all right, try to divide the blame a bit to you. All right. Saying that this emotion is not from me, it is because of you who should call me earlier, but you didn't do that. Okay. Counterfeit emotional language, all right, when you express emotion but does not actually describe what a person is feeling. All right, so the language that seems to express counterfeit emotional language is a language that seems to express emotion but does not actually describe what a person is feeling. For example, all right, why can't you leave me alone? You just say that. All right, your mom open your room, all right, open the door to your room, and then you suddenly burst out. Why can't you just leave me alone? All right, and your mom didn't know what she actually did. All right, didn't know what actually happened. Didn't know what's wrong with you. All right, so effective communicators, they will provide clear description of their feelings and the connection between their feelings and also others' behavior. For example, all right, I feel frustrated because when I'm working and you walk in, I lost my train of thought. All right, it's a more constructive statement than why can't you leave me alone? Okay, so rather than just saying why can't you leave me alone, you might want to express your frustration in a, not going to say in a complex sentence, but the message is very clear that, all right, actually you were disturbing me, for example. Okay. All right. Similar to face-to-face communication, we may not express our emotions digitally, because like we've mentioned just now, sometimes whatever it is being exposed or being expressed online doesn't really indicate the reality that you are having. All right. Sometimes you can see movies like those who are very happy online, showing themselves having good times and things like that, are actually not the person that they are showing in front of the screen. Okay, social media may help us feel and express our emotion. All right, but then sometimes because of the advancement of the technology, we do have emoticons. We can now post videos. We can now do live chats. We can now have video calls and things like that. Video online meetings like this. You can also feel and also have expression of your meetings and emotion, all right, in front of the screen like this. But it will never actually indicate how you feel behind the screen. Social media can become substitute to involvement in face-to-face relationship. Yes, of course, this is already being done nowadays because of the pandemic and things, all right? So you are now always reaching, contacting people using social media and also other online platforms. Okay. All right. Guidelines for communicating emotion effectively. Number one, please identify your emotion. Do know what kind of feelings that you are currently having. Are you happy? Are you irritated? Are you mad? Are you angry? All right. Are you calm? All right. Choose how to express emotion. Sometimes your expression doesn't have to align with your emotion. If you feel angry or irritated, all right, but the situation doesn't allow you to express your feeling, or because you just want to save face, don't want to act rudely, all right, so try to express yourself in a very good manner. Own your feelings, all right. Do know what kind of feelings that you are having right now. Monitor your self-talk, all right. Self-talk is when you are talking to yourself. What is actually happening right now? Or how should I act? All right. How should I respond? All right. Do I need to ignore? Do I need to absorb this kind of information? All right. Adopt a rational, emotive approach to feelings. All right. Always be rational when you want to understand and also convey your feelings, and respond sensitively when others communicate emotion. So when the others are emotionally communicating to you, telling things to you in tears, for example, all right, try to be more sensitive and adapt to their style of communication. All right. So by responding sensitively, do not try to solve their problem immediately. So offer freedom by saying what they are feeling and have the feeling accepted. All right. Show that you are willing to discuss emotional topics and accept where they are as a starting place. All right. Always embrace them. Always listen first to them, and do not, do not object or reject them at that moment yet. All right, just listen and give some space for them to be expressive. Paraphrase, all right, show that you understand their feeling, as you are not only understanding the content but also the feeling that they are delivering. Okay, so this is the rational emotive approach to feelings, right? This is a step by step, all right, step 1, 2, 3, and 4 of how you should be rational and also emotive towards your feeling. All right, so number 1, you will monitor emotional reaction. All right, number 2, you will identify commonalities in events and experience to which you respond emotionally. You will try to find the common value or shared attributes. All right, shared attributes with the communicators. All right, turn into your self-talk. Notice irrational belief and fallacies. All right, so get back to yourself and try to identify whether the emotion are true. For example, whether it is appropriate to behave in a way, it is appropriate to express, or it is not appropriate to be expressive in a way. All right, and then use self-talk to dispute fallacies. All right, so always ask yourself the things, right, that you need to ignore, right, that you need to prevent from happening, and also that you need to practice when you are communicating emotionally. Okay, all right. Any question on this topic? I'm not going to say that you should restrain your emotion, all right, but please be wise in terms of being expressive, all right, and expressing your emotion. Sometimes, all right, for example, we can see a lot in social media, all right, some, I'm not going to say celebrities, some, let's say, what you call that? What's the term that you use for those who are very famous online?
Influencer.
Influencer. I don't know what are the things that they are influencing us with. All right, sometimes influencer, all right, when they got issue with their husband or wife, they tend to burst in front of the camera when they are facing family issues, family problems, when somebody from, I mean, things that happen internally cannot always be exposed online, because, right, rather than having people feel sorry about you, sometimes people will also get irritated. They will just say simple things like, although you have issue with your husband, you are still very rich. Although you are in the brink of a divorce, all right, you still got a big house, a big company, and things like that. All right, so there's check and balance over there. All right, sometimes bad things happen to you, but other good things also occur to you. So do not be too expressive, because we might violate, or we might cause those who are very unlucky, all right, who doesn't have a family, doesn't have money and things, for example, all right, or in the brink of losing everything, all right, to see this and feel very bad, feel very sorry, not to you, but even to themselves. Okay, all right, any question?
So I know, sir.
All right, thank you very much. All right, so all right, I hope all of you are aware, all right, are aware of the assignment. All right, again, okay, so those who don't have any, I mean, those who still feel unclear about the assignment, you can always ask in a group, or you can always text me personally. All right, and stop sharing. All right, and please, the assignment will be submitted again on the where were we? 18 or 19? On the 18th of December. Okay, 18th of December, which is Saturday next week. All right, not this coming Saturday, but another Saturday. All right, so if you got no more question, all right, thank you for joining the session. I guess I'll see you again next week. If you do have question, don't hesitate to reach me and ask. Okay, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum, and have a very good day, everyone. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.